Welcome back to Queer FM, Canada's longest running queer radio program with your host, DJ Denise Fraser, and myself, Barb Snellgrove. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget you can catch us on Tuesdays, 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific. It's 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern or 4 to 6 p.m. for our overseas listeners. And then we rebound you. We give it right back at you again on Friday if you can't catch our Tuesday show. Follow us on Friday. Same bad time, same bad channel on CITR Radio 101.9 locally, or of course streaming globally at CITR.ca. Interview time again. Time to get settled in. We don't want you to get too settled in because we're going to play their music at the end and we'll get you up and dancing with it. Envi Jordan is an emerging queer pop artist, singer, songwriter, and entertainer in Seattle, Washington. Born in New York and raised in Georgia by Caribbean immigrant parents, music and songwriting was his escape and form of self-expression. Envi's music carries both themes of fantasy and self-empowerment with rhythmic lyrics and danceable beats. Envi's debut single, Dreamland, Kirby, is an infectious house pop rap fusion with clever lyrics inspired by Nintendo's Kirby. This feel-good song carries a message of empowerment and has been played on radio in the U.S., UK, Canada, Australia, and South Africa since its release. To learn more about the artist, check out their website at Envi, that's ENVI, Jordan.com, or on Instagram at Envi Jordan. And we welcome to Queer FM today, Envi Jordan. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, Envi, I really wanted to find out and get to the bottom of your stage name. How did you land on Envi Jordan as your stage name?
I've never been asked that. It's because, well, here's how it started. My middle name is Benjamin. So I originally went as Benji, but I personally, and this is no offense to anyone that goes by Benji, but I started to feel like Benji sounds more like a dog name, like something you name your dog. So I took the B off of Benji, and it was MG. And I was like, okay, this is cool and different. And then I was like, So one day I started just switching the J and NG to different letters, and I landed on Envy. And I was like, oh, that's also a word. So it has like a double meaning. I was like, oh, Envy. So it started from my middle name, Benjamin, and I switched it to Envy, and then that became Envy.
It's got a great, it clicked.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're born in New York, raised in Georgia, from Caribbean immigrant parents, and now you're in Seattle. You're kind of hop skipping your way across quite varied regions of the U.S. Getting in, and you're like, where you like in Seattle and all of it? Because Seattle's pretty subdued. New York is really bustling. Georgia is, Georgia, which has some beautiful. We'll put it that way. It's got some beautiful, countryside folk, but it's more southern. So it's like, how did you end up in Seattle? I guess we'll start it that way.
I ended up in Seattle because I was very unhappy in Georgia. When I first started my music career, it was with some mixtapes called Secrets, and it was just pretty much songs I wrote when I lived there and how depressed I was growing up there. Those were not happy years for me. I don't really have any good memories from my time in Georgia. So I pretty much wanted to get out of there. The pandemic made it worse because when you're in a smaller town and the world is closed down, you don't really have a social life. I was just very lonely. So I wanted to be in a city, a walkable city at that. So I wasn't going to move back to New York just because it's so expensive. And of course, Seattle isn't cheap either, but it's not as expensive. Right. So this was a walkable city that had a great creative community. It was going to be either Seattle or San Francisco. And I set up sort of like an Airbnb tour. I was going to, do a month in Seattle, a month in Portland, a month in San Francisco, choose which one I liked. But then I did the first month in Seattle, and I just ended up staying. Signing a lease and staying.
Yeah, it is our neighbors just over the border. Seattle is an absolutely beautiful place.
Yeah, I
Have you
love it.
found? Have you, yeah. So you found home
Yeah,
after
this
a
is
lifetime of
that will
mission?
always be home. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be here permanently. Like I think
Mhm.
I still want to see. I mean, I feel like you have one life to live, and this is such a big world. So I definitely want to experience living in other parts of the country, other countries. I'd love to live on another side of the planet altogether. Like I'd love to have some years maybe living in the UK or even living in Australia and seeing what that's like. So I don't think I'm gonna ever stay in one state, but
Right.
Seattle will always be home because I think this is where I really found myself. I didn't know who I was for my teen years or early 20s until I feel like I found myself in Seattle.
Do you feel it's changed your musical style? Because as you mentioned, it's a tough time for you in Georgia, and your music will probably reflect that. What's it like writing music now in a place that it's just so freeing for you?
My creative process has changed a lot since I've started making my actual album. Because before I pretty much would start with uh, instrumentals and write to that, but now I just start purely with whatever's on my mind or in my heart, and I just write a song, and then after that we do the production. I think being in Seattle has changed my musical style in the way of I partly am sort of a contrarian or sort of rebellious. I like to do things that are not like what the people around me are doing. And in Seattle, it's a very rock heavy city.
Hmm.
Um, and I love rock music. Actually, I did a lot of rock and alternative sounds on my first mixtape. But because that's such a thing in Seattle, for whatever reason, it makes me not want to do that. So right now, I'm doing very bubbly dance pop music. It's just the complete opposite of like the vibe in this city. So it sort of reversely influenced me in terms of I just want to do whatever. I just don't like doing things that I feel like
You have
what
to do.
everyone's doing. So
Yeah, you've got to sort of turn the like when someone wants you to do something. It's like, no, f you. It's the opposite.
yeah, because like all the stations here are rock stations, and it felt like even
Really?
more of an accomplishment when Dreamland premiered on 107.7 in Seattle, which is an alternative rock station. Because like it's just like wow, this isn't even a rock song, but the guy, the host, he loved it and he played the song. So that felt really good because when you do your own thing and you're not following the path that seems like the easiest route and you're seeing success, it feels even better.
But that's the thing too is it can't say it enough to any aspiring musicians out there. You can't say it enough. Be true to be true to you. Like if you try to play and do and be someone other than yourself, it's going to fail you somewhere along the lines. And it's like when people finally figure out, and just I'm just going to keep being me and doing what I do. That eventually, your audience finds you, your tribe, so to speak, right?
Yeah, and I think it's better win or lose if you're being yourself because if you flop and you flop while selling yourself out and not even being true to yourself, that's even worse to me. And like I'd rather be me and people not like me for who I truly am than them like me for who I'm not, or you know what I mean. I'd
Right,
rather,
right.
yeah, it just in the end it's just better to stay true to yourself as an artist.
This is so great to hear, and especially in your bio, hearing that your parents are from the Caribbean. Which parts of the Caribbean are your parents from?
My dad's from Antigua and my mom is Guyanese, so she's from South America, but it's sort of like Caribbean adjacent because it's right by the islands, and a lot of Guyanese will move to the islands and just right in that sort of cluster.
So you come from a musical background in your family because there's all sorts of great music. So you must have had because there's some pretty good grooves happening down there.
Yeah, both of my parents love music. Music is in my blood really because even my dad pursued music when he was younger. Um, Music was a huge part of my childhood, and I think that's why my influences are what they are. Because my mom, especially, was always introducing me to the acts that she loved, which is people from the 80s and 90s. So I think that's why I'm so obsessed with the 80s and 90s. My mom, I remember when I was young, I had to be maybe 7 years old, and my mom had the laptop open. She was showing me Janet Jackson music videos. She was showing me she was just giving me the full rundown of everything. She was showing me Paula Abdul, Madonna. I was into all of them from a very young age. So the first artist I ever saw live was Janet Jackson in 2018. My mom told me that. So, from a young
Good on,
age.
Mom.
Yeah.
Well done, lady.
Yeah, she definitely was into all of that, and she introduced me to a lot of that. And to this day, that's the music I love, and that's what influences what I make that time period. So I listen to some stuff from today, but really not a lot of it. I think the newest album that I repeatedly play will be Kylie Minogue's Tension 2 album, but even Kylie started in like the 80s. So, like, or like that song that Type Dangerous that Mariah Carey just released. Like, I loved that, and it can be a little frustrating when you love that music and those artists because you'll feel like they're not getting the respect they deserve when they do things. Like, I feel like Janet's performance at the Envy's like last month, I felt like that should have received a lot more recognition from the public. I feel like it represented a lot, and I feel like people didn't really pay it what it deserved. And, sometimes it can be frustrating in that way because it's like, these iconic moments are happening, and people are just not.
Yeah. And already an icon. I mean, Janet effing Jackson, people.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just, I'm starting to wonder if some of these music award shows have kind of run their course because music is just so easily accessible in every other form now for people to do directly.
Social media and TikTok has definitely, it's like a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because, of course, someone like me can sort of make it through the waves without a record deal. Like, I don't think I'd be able to do half of what I've done 20 years ago without a record label. I feel like the idea of getting your music on radio, even maybe 10 years ago without a record label, was probably like unfeasible. So,
totally.
But especially in terms of like what the way music is consumed, it's almost like with TikTok, it's like that 15 seconds of the song versus really consuming the entire song.
Do you have a team behind you? Do you is Envi Jordan just the one? How you want to give any shout outs to any people who are helping you in your career?
I wish I had a team. No, I'm a self-managed, self-everything artist. I do the cover art.
God bless you, darling.
Yeah, I don't sleep a lot because you also working a full-time job while organizing everything. And right now, organizing the release of the next single while promoting Dreamland, while putting my show together, my live show together. So I'm working with some dancers and the choreographer. And it's a lot
that angle.
Ball to juggle.
Yeah, so to speak. Pardon the play on words. Because what people may not understand, and you really do have to appreciate it, because again, it is a blessing and a curse. Social media, it does give us the ability, for musical artists to promote themselves and to do their own thing. But you used to have record labels who handled all of that. You just look pretty, look styling, open your mouth and sing. That's all you had to worry about. And now, as a self-produced artist, you've got, as you mentioned, you've got to promote the song while you're still working the daytime gig. You've got to, also be thinking of what are you writing next? And, oh my God, I've got to make a music video and how do I get the funding for this? There's a lot of balls at play.
Yeah,
there's a lot. What is your favorite part? Is it the quietly sitting there coming up with a new tune? Is it on stage? Is it creating a music video?
I actually haven't done any performances yet. That's why I'm still working with the choreographer. Because I'm very, I want my shows to be special. So I don't want to and there's nothing wrong with this because lots of artists do it, but I don't want to give a performance where it's just me standing up with like a microphone. I want it to be like something that people remember and that really impacts them. So I'm putting together a show that's going to be an experience right now, but that takes time. But to actually answer your question, what's my favorite part? I think my favorite part is when a new song comes to my head. That's my favorite part. It's that fresh new idea where I'm like, I love this. That's my favorite part of the entire process. Because of course I know after that moment will be plenty of work, and I now have to, turn this idea into something that's physically manifested. But the moment when I get the idea, or like a melody comes to my head, or like I'm finished writing a new song, that's my favorite part.
It's still just your little baby. If you haven't introduced it, given it a name yet, it's just your little thought bubble.
Yeah, because that's really where it all begins. It all begins from the song. You can't do anything else without that song. And I go through a lot of songs, but whenever I have the ones that like I'm like, I love this one. This is going to be on my project. Those are the moments. My favorite. Like even with Dreamland, like the moment I'm in my apartment right now where the hook for that came to mind, because Dreamland was sort of an odd one. It's like I did the verse ages before I could think of a hook. For whatever reason, I can never think of a hook for that song. Until one day, it randomly came to mind. So that was a great moment.
Good for you for not rushing it. Good for you for like letting that song, give birth to itself when it was ready, because you could have thought, I can't think of anything, and thrown something in, and it wouldn't have been half of what it was by you just like letting it sit there and percolate and bubble on the stove until it made the perfect stew. So
you can't force it. No. You can't force it.
No, that's for sure.
Would you say you love to dance as well? Because I was hearing that about the upcoming show, that you want to make it into a huge performance.
Oh, I love dancing.
Yes.
That sort of goes hand in hand directly with the music. Even when I'm making the songs, I'm thinking of how it's gonna transfer into the show, and my producer is very in tune with that as well. Like even when because he knows how important the performance aspect is to me. He knows that I'm making the show, so even he knows that like that when he's putting the structures together, that I'm obviously gonna want this to be danceable and this to be something that is gonna be something that's great for the choreographer to sink his teeth into.
Right.
So I love to dance. Love dancing.
Yeah. And you love, and of course, your music is certainly Dreamland, Kirby. Certainly gotta get up and dance about kind of a tune. But what do you hope listeners take away from your music? I mean, obviously, enjoying stuff, but what is it you want to express to the listener?
I want people to take away from my music some form of inspiration or escape, because that's what made me fall in love with the music that I love. Is just that whenever because like I said, I was not happy for. It sucks to say, but for the majority of my life, I've been unhappy because I've been happy in the most recent years. But music was always what I had to lean on, and I know I'm not the only person who was living that way, and I just want people to get that through my music, that thing to make them smile when they might feel like everything else sucks, and they might not see a way out, because there's a long time where I did not see possibility of how on earth my life would ever get better. So a long time I had no clue. I had no answer to that. I literally was like, how is this ever going to improve? Had no clue. But music was like an escape, and if I can help people escape and just get through to the next day, you're every day that passes, you are getting closer to, as cliche as it sounds, the brighter days, because it does get better. It sounds so cliche, and when you're in the dark moments, you really are not trying to hear that, but it does get better, and every day that you make it through, you're getting closer. So
Well,
Inspiration inspiration and escape is what I want people to get from my music.
There's so many of us as queer folks that have, felt that and know what you're talking of and have looked to music as solace or to, poems or to, a lot of stuff that is creative. And kudos to you for providing people that venue to just, put in their earbuds and get lost in their own little world knowing it's a greater day for this song and my feet it's happened kind of.
Yeah, because Dreamland is a song about a video game character. It's a song about Kirby.
Kirby.
On the surface, it might seem like, it's so silly, but it's something that people can have fun to, and I think that's important, especially right now. Everything that's happening right now, I think people need something that is just fun.
Sure. So this is a debut single, and congratulations on that. Are you working as part of a larger EP or like a full-length LP, or where are you going next with your music?
The original plan was an EP that was going to come out like fall of this year, but it's my first time doing a project on this scale, so I didn't realize that timeline was not realistic. So at this point, it just turned into an album, and I'm still recording it, but the next single is coming pretty soon. So, yeah. Well, it's part of a larger body of work, my debut album.
The debut album, and we look forward to that. And folks, if you were not already, get those numbers up. We're not going to. It's a behind the scenes joke, but you got to get those numbers up because we love this performer, and we know you are going to as well. Envi Jordan on Instagram. So make sure new total. Bring those down. And of course, it's envijordan.com. And if you follow on, bookmark envijordan.com and follow at Envi Jordan on Instagram, you're going to find out when more music comes out because we know you're going to love this one. Thank you for sharing and coming by and chatting with us about your musical journey. And welcome, neighbor, because you're now so close to us. We hope we hope we get you up here in Vancouver doing some gigs in the non-too-distant future.
Oh, definitely, 100% without a doubt. I will be in Canada doing shows.
And we wish you all the best success with your music.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing your platform with me.
This is Queer FM, and without further ado, time for you folks to get up off the couch, chair, or whatever you be doing, because it's time for you to get a moving. This is Envi Jordan and their debut single, Dreamland, which is an infectious house pop rap fusion you are not going to want to miss. So, without further ado, as mentioned, Dreamland on Queer FM 101.9.
Hey, this is Envi Jordan from Seattle, Washington, US, and you're listening to Queer FM Vancouver 101.9 on CITR Radio.